What is waterfall project management? In this video, I'm going to talk to you about this term, and I am going to explain it so that whenever you hear it, you know what it means, and you know the goods and the bads. And I think you're going to love it because when I first heard it, I was like, what is that? And I also want to explain why it's so crucial, because you've got to be able to visualize waterfall project management, especially with scheduling systems and managing a construction project. So if you're interested in that, please stay with us. Okay, I am super excited about this topic. What is waterfall project management? Well, the exact definition is to look at projects as a linear sequence, meaning that like activity A starts before activity B starts before activity C, or let's say the make-ready phase starts before excavation, starts before foundation, starts before superstructure, or you could even say at a higher level, design precedes contracting, precedes construction, precedes warranty, and closeout, right? So this is a very linear, logical way to think about things. And to be clear, I love waterfall project management and I love waterfall thinking. Why is it called waterfall? If you've ever seen waterfalls, you'll see that the stream comes down and then it drops, then it hits a horizontal surface or a rock, then it comes out, and then it flows down and down and down. And on our schedules, it looks like a waterfall. Like literally, if I was with you and me looking at it from right to left, it's just like waterfalls down from the left to right. Now, the first place that I heard this being criticized was in the book Scrum, How to Do Twice the Work in Half the Time. And I love Scrum as an adaptation of Agile and the Kanban method. I love it. But if you said, Jason, go build this $1.5 billion project off of Scrum, you can't do it. It's just not possible. And I'll tell you why. Because that's not how construction works. Construction has to flow, and secondly, you have multiple intersecting entities. I think there was a movie, it was called The Ghost in the Darkness, you know, where the lions are eating all the humans, and I think Val Kilmer was in it. If I've gotten this wrong, I apologize, but super fun movie, and this engineer is wanting to build this bridge, I think it's the character of Val Kilmer, while the train tracks are coming up to it, so they're intersecting. I've always had that in my brain. Construction is like the train tracks coming up on the bridge that needs to be built so that the train tracks can just go right over the top. Intersecting work. A waterfall schedule is essentially looking at the linear sequence of things and putting it on a timeline. Our methods like Scrum don't do that. They just have a board and they have backlog, sprint backlog, in progress, and complete. And that's dangerous if you need to intersect, let's say, the exterior curtain wall with the installation of that exterior curtain wall, and you're talking about long supply chains, like 9 months for curtain wall. You've got to pick a date so you know how they intersect. So you have to have a waterfall schedule. Now, the goods and the bads. The bads is that a CPM schedule a lot of times looks like a waterfall schedule, but it's really not a waterfall schedule, because if you see a waterfall, it will come and flow down and then flatten out and then flow, and like it will have its horizontal and vertical drops. But a CPM schedule will trade stack and trade burden. It won't flow. A CPM schedule, if you do a slice, especially at the latter third, you will see trade stacking, multiple trades in one area where they don't naturally or safely fit, and trade burdening, where one trade is in too many areas above their capacity. And that would be like a waterfall that literally comes across the rock, comes down, and then loops back into itself, puddles in this little like air puddle, and then somehow flows to the next phase too soon. It's not actually a waterfall. Takt is a waterfall. You literally have your sequence and it flows down through the other zones, and then it connects to the other phase. It goes through the sequence and flows down through the other zones. Takt is a true waterfall schedule and a way to manage a project according to waterfall project management. And so in that case, I love it. Well, we know why we need sequential activities in a pull plan. Why would we need sequential phases? The base of all construction wisdom or visualization is in the phase. And a phase is simply a grouping of zones, and through those zones will be flowing a train of trades. And you can have multiple trains of trades, and they will literally waterfall on most projects from your make ready through foundations to superstructure to exterior to interiors to commissioning and then exterior site work and closeout. Literally, it's beautiful. It makes a beautiful waterfall. But the key is inside the phase, you have the sequence, the line of balance, and buffers. And it's crucial for every phase. And every phase also has with it the need to pull plan it 3 months ahead, start pre-con meetings 3 weeks ahead, and to look out ahead to remove roadblocks in the phase, and you have to align your supply chains to these phases. So it has the base components for how to manage a construction project. And so every phase will have these zones, and it will have your train of trades. And you have to know the sequence of the train of trades, you have to know how many zones, and you have to know how fast that train of trades is flowing through that phase. And so waterfall project management literally gives you milestones, which are crucial. Then it literally enables you to pull plan. Then it literally enables you to understand the sequence. Then it literally enables you to understand the line of balance of the phase. Then it literally enables you to do a risk analysis for that phase and to add buffers. And you're able to trigger the pre-con meeting, and it gives you dates to align your supply chain. So phases and waterfall project management, it's crucial, but not the CPM way. So imagine this, a waterfall in Takt would be like the river's flowing, you have good trade flow, a little bit of buffer. CPM would be like, and it's going back up on itself, and then it's going, it wouldn't work like natural water, it wouldn't look like gravity. Because the CPM schedule shouldn't be called critical path schedule, it should be the IPS, it should be the impossible path schedule. A river is not going to flow and then curl up into itself. A river is going to flow, fall, flow, fall, flow, fall. A Takt plan is going to flow, fall, flow, fall, flow, fall. CPM is not a waterfall schedule. And Scrum is attacking CPM, not Takt. Waterfall schedules are beautiful because they flow, and a waterfall schedule and waterfall project management is Takt. And the reason it's important is because it respects flow, it is sequential, it helps you to understand how to plan, and it does respect trade flow, and it does have buffers. So if you see a waterfall Takt plan with waterfall project management, you will see it flow beautifully, it will be in sequence, and you will be able to manage it, and everybody will flow. That's what waterfall project management is. And it's not CPM. So every time you hear that, know what they're talking about, and know that if you do have intersecting trades or trades that are intersecting with a supply chain, you must have it on a timeline, and they must intersect, and you can't just use the Kanban method, and you can't just use Scrum. In fact, when I went to Japan and saw the manufacturing companies, all of them worked on a Takt time, all of them worked on a timeline, all of them were leveled, and pull was secondary. And what that means in construction is our overall waterfall schedules done right form the backbone, and pull is secondary, and we never push. So I'm going to put this into a blog post to help you to understand it, and I would welcome your feedback in the comments below. I hope you've loved this video. On we go.